For today's video, we are talking about the percent proportion. So our learning target is I can solve percent problems using the percent proportion. Please write down what you already know. You may not know what the percent proportion is, but you know what percents are. Write down the date you're watching this video. And then we have no vocabulary today. So please pause the video, get all of that written down, and restart when you're ready to go. So to start, we're going on what the percent proportion is. The percent proportion says that the part over the whole, I'm going to leave a little extra room there, that equals the percent P over 100. And when we're solving percent problems, we have a couple clue words that we're going to look for in problems that help us figure out what is the part and what is the whole. So our clue word for the part is the word is, and our clue word for what is the whole is the word of. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a few minutes when we get to some actual problems here. So really, really important that we have this written down, and then this is the formula that we are going to be using to solve all of the problems that we do today. So let's look at our first example, finding the percent of a number. To find the percent of a number using the percent proportion, here we have 50% of 250. So the first thing I always like to do is set up my proportion. So the first thing I see is I have the word of 250. Of is a clue word for the whole, which goes on the bottom. So that means that 250 goes on the bottom of the left. On the bottom of the right, we always have the number 100. And then the 50%, well, that's a percent, so that goes on the top. Now I can just look for a nice relationship if I have one. I see a nice relationship right here between the 50 and the 100. I know 50 times 2 is 100. That means that whatever is up here times 2 will be 250. So to figure out what x is, I do x to 250 divided by 2, and that gives me x equals 125. 125 then is 50% of 250. All of these then, we're going to be doing the same thing. So for 20% of 35, again, I'll set up my proportion. 100 goes on the bottom right always. My percent, 20, goes up here. And then of 35, so 35 goes on the bottom. It's the whole. Again, looking for a nice relationship. I see a relationship here. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So I can do 35 divided by 5, and I get the answer of 7. 7 is my answer. 7 is 20% of 35. It's really important when we're setting up a proportion, you don't have to do any shortening at the end. You don't have to simplify. You don't have to do any of that. Your answer isn't 7 over 35. Your answer is just this 7. Now, we're not always going to have a perfect relationship. So for 80% of 55, setting up our proportion, well, our percent, 80 over 100, and then of 55, so 55 is my whole. Looking at this, I realized right away that I don't have a perfect relationship, but I can do 100 divided by 80. And when I do 100 divided by 80, I get 1.25. That means if I divide by 1.25 that way, that I can also divide by 1.25 this way. And that's okay. It's okay that is not a perfect relationship. We can deal with decimals. In this case, if I do 55 divided by 1.25, I get 44. So my answer is x equals 44. So the first thing I want you to do, and this is the first problem that you're being asked to do for your percent proportion check, I would like you to find 50% of 85 using the percent proportion, just like I've done here. So your first check here is this next problem, 50% of 85, and that will be the answer for question 1 in your check for this video. So beyond just finding the percent of a number, we need to be able to solve word problems. So for example, a word problem might look like this. What percent of 3 is 1? So we're going to do a few examples of the different ways that this can look. So what percent of 3 is 1? The big trick here is that we need to figure out what is the part, what is the whole, what's the percent, all of that, and fill in our proportion. So in filling in our proportion, we always know 100 goes here. Always on the bottom right. Then I look at the numbers and I say, okay, what else can I figure out? I see that I have of 3. Of 3, that means that 3 is my whole because of the percent proportion keywords is and of, and clue words. So 3 of 3, that means 3 is my whole. I also see that I have is 1. Is a clue word for the part, so I have the 1 there. Now I can just solve this proportion. Looking for a relationship, I see that 1 times 3 is 3. So I can do 100 divided by 3 to get my unknown. 100 divided by 3, that's 33.33. 33.3 repeating, really. And that is a percent, because anytime my answer is on this side, my answer is a percent. And that's lined up with the question, what percent of 3 is 1? Doing it again here, what percent of 80 is 16? Setting up my proportion. See if you can set this up and solve it on your own first. Then when you're finished, check back to see if you got it right. So filling this in, I know 100 always goes on the bottom right. I see of 80. That means that 80 goes on is the whole. Next I see is 16. 16 is the part. That means my x is the percent over here. When I looked for a relationship, I saw right away that 80 divided by 5 is 16. That means I can do 100 divided by 5. And I get that x equals 20. And again, this is a percent. Because my question is what percent? All right, let's try the next one and be a little bit careful with this one. So once again, see if you can pause the video, solve this problem, and then restart it to check your work when you're done. But be careful because this one is different. So filling in this next problem, what number is 76% of 25? So looking through this, as always, I put my 100 here. The next thing I see right away, this says of 25. Of being my clue word tells me that of 25, 25 is the whole. And then this 76 is a percent. So my 76 goes in the percent spot there. That leaves my part here to be my unknown x. Looking for a relationship, I see right away that 25 times 4 is 100. So to go the opposite direction, I'll need to do 76 divided by 4. 76 divided by 4 gives me 19. So my unknown x is 19. So even though this one looked a little bit different, it all was able to work out. I can use my clue words. I can know what percents are. I use the clue words is and of, and that helps me go. One thing that trips people up is they'll say, oh, there's an is right there. So doesn't the 76 have to be a part? But the reality is that this percent sign, that beats out, that's first. So the percent sign means that my percent goes over here. So first we're going to put in our percent where the percent goes. Then we'll look for our clue words is and of. In this case, it helped us with the of 25 there. Always remember the percent doesn't move around. The percent stays put, always on the top right. All right, see if you can do the next one. Again, things moved around a little bit, so be really, really careful. See if you can pause the video, set up the proportion and solve it, and then restart the video to check your answer. So this 60 is 30% of what number? Setting up my proportion, I know 100 goes right there. The next thing I see is 30%. 30%, well, that means that goes right there. The next thing I see is that it says 60 is. 60 is. Is my clue word here. That means my 60 goes over here. Okay? And that means my unknown to be there. Again, as always, when we solve proportions, I look for a relationship. I see that I can go times 2. 30 times 2 is 60. So 100 times 2 will be my x. That gives 100. And if you're wondering why are these not percents, well, because it's a number this time, not a percent. And then our last one here, what number is 5% of 400? So once again, see if you can set it up, solve the proportion, and then restart the video to check your work. Setting up the proportion here, what number is 5% of 400? Okay, always my 100 goes here. I see a percent right away. That's 5% that's going to go here. And then of 400 tells me that this is my whole. Now, I think we all know how to solve proportions, but for your second check for this video, I want you to actually solve this proportion. So I've set it up for you. And so your second answer to question 2 will be the answer to this question right here. So 2 questions that you need to have put in. Hopefully you've got both of those answers. If not, or if you need any help, please let me know. Thanks so much. Have a great day.